Louis W. Hine, an American photographer, was born on September 26, 1874, and died on November 3, 1940. Hine is known primarily for his documentary and explanatory photographs of the cruelty and injustice of child labor in the early 1900s. Working for the National Child Labor Committee, Hine effectively captured the brutality that was prevalent in the horrific factories and sweatshops in which children as young as 4 years old worked for unfair wages. In particular, Hine focused on photographing the hardships of Ellis Island immigrants. Hine went on to work for the Red Cross, Tennessee Valley Authority, and the Works Progress Administration, where he captured images using black and white formatting of children that were disparaged and robbed of their childhood innocence. The photography of Louis Hine had a serious impact on the implementation of child labor laws. Hine was a major component of a social reform movement that changed the lives of children forever. After reviewing a plethora of Louis Hine's images, I was taken aback by the harshness that was the lives of millions of American children. Hine uses his photographic abilities to accurately capture a major problem that was occurring in our country. He did not enhance his work, he simply showed the truth. His work made Americans aware of the cruelty of child labor then, and it continues to show people today just how bad the conditions were. Louis Hine's photographs may be disturbing, upsetting, and blunt, but they show the truth about a problem that desperately needed to be fixed. This photograph depicts breaker boys working for Ewan Breaker of Pennsylvania Coal Company in 1911. Notice their faces. The majority of these workers are under 10 years old. Initially, the eye is drawn to the left center of the horizontal line of the boys and then taken outwards in both directions, giving the viewer an uneasy feeling that the line of boys does not only include those in the shot, but extends outward and backwards infinitely. Portions of their faces are highlighted due to the fact that dirt covers the rest of their bodies. The close proximity of these boys shows just how many there were. This is a photograph of 12-year-old Annie Card working as a spinner in North Pormal Cotton Mill in Vermont in 1910. She began working during a summer vacation from school, but then continued working instead of attending school again in the fall. This image is particularly heartbreaking because, as a 12-year-old, Annie should be playing with her friends, but she is working for a small amount of money to help provide for her family. Her facial expressions shows just how serious her work is. Working in a cotton mill is a dangerous occupation, as one can see by looking at this machinery behind her. Annie is highlighted in this photograph not only because she is in the foreground, but also because her body is the only vertical portion of the image, whereas the rest of the content lies in a horizontal line. The viewer may not notice at first, but the eye is drawn downwards. One will notice that Annie is not even wearing shoes. This startling image, entitled Newsies Smoking at Skeeter's Branch, was taken by Louis Hine in St. Louis, Missouri in 1910. This photograph illustrates just how fast these children were forced to grow up. Although these boys are clearly too young to be smoking, the smoke clouds their 10-year-old faces, making their age difficult to guess. This photograph uses the rule of thirds, with one boy occupying an equal portion of the image. Disturbing as it is, this photograph accurately depicts the harsh reality that was the lives of children as young as 10 years old. This is a photograph of Francis Lance, a 5-year-old newsboy, taken in St. Louis, Missouri in 1910. The newspaper Lance is holding is the focal point of the photograph, particularly because it is nearly half the size of the boy's body. The rule of thirds is used horizontally in the background, and there is a division created by the sidewalk and the lettering on the wall. This image is startling in that it illustrates the desperate measures that families had to turn to in the early 1900s in order to survive, even if it meant exploiting their 5-year-old son to sell newspapers alone on the streets. Although Louis Hine's work took years to achieve recognition, he played a vital role in ending the exploitation of child laborers. Louis Hine did not augment his photographs. He wanted to show the world the raw tragedy that was occurring behind the walls of the factories and industries that employed the young and vulnerable children of our country.